At the beginning of this movie, we meet Pell, a quiet 7th grader who barely makes a ripple in the social world of his school. He eats lunch alone, keeps his head down, and carries a crush so heavy it might as well be a backpack full of bricks. The girl? Amanda. Popular, confident, untouchable. As far as Pelle is concerned, she exists in a completely different universe. But one ordinary afternoon changes everything. Pell is sitting on the school rooftop eating an apple when he spots 2 older kids below, cornering and bullying a smaller boy named Wilhelm. He could look away. Most people would. Instead, he throws his apple straight down and nails one of the bullies right in the head. It feels heroic for about 3 seconds, until both bullies look up, lock eyes with Pell, and start sprinting toward him. Pell runs. He cuts through hallways, ducks through alleyways, and eventually loses them near a creepy abandoned house on the edge of town. He catches his breath, starts walking home, and thinks that is the end of it. Then he feels something moving up his leg, a small ant crawling steadily toward his neck. Before he can flick it off, it bites him. The pain is instant and strange. His vision spins. The world tilts sideways. Just before he blacks out, he catches a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing nearby. Then everything goes dark. He wakes up hours later in the bushes, weak and disoriented. He drags himself home, tells his mum he was out with friends, skips dinner, and crashes into bed. That night, the dreams are disturbing. Ants everywhere, swarming across his skin, covering every inch of him. He wakes up in the middle of the night and somehow ends up in the kitchen, eating chocolate bar after chocolate bar without even realizing it. By morning, there are wrappers scattered across his bed and chocolate smeared on his face. He has no memory of any of it. Then at breakfast, things get properly strange. He reaches for a milk carton, and it sticks to his hand like it is glued there. His dad has to pry it off. A minute later, he picks up a glass of juice and crushes it with his bare hand without even trying. His dad laughs it off, says the glass must have been weak. But Pelle knows. Something has changed inside him. At school that same day, the class heads outside for a physical training session. Basic movements, light sparring. Pell looks clumsy at first, stumbling through the drills while everyone watches. And then, without warning, something in him just switches on. He moves with blinding speed and lands a hit on the teacher that sends the man stumbling backward. Dead silence. Every student is staring. Wilhelm was watching the whole thing. After school, he walks straight up to Pelle and asks him flat out, does he have some kind of power? Pelle denies it, but while they are talking, he notices a man standing across the street staring directly at them. The same shadowy figure from the night of the bite. The man holds his gaze for a long moment, then turns and disappears. Pelle feels a chill he cannot shake. That same man we now see is heading back to the old abandoned house. Inside, he is staring at a newspaper clipping, a story about a powerful pharmaceutical executive, the man who runs a company called Exopharm. And that executive, it turns out, is Amanda's father. The next day, Pelle decides to trust Wilhelm with the truth. He tells him everything, the ant, the bite, the strange things happening to his body. Wilhelm does not flinch. He does not laugh. His eyes light up instead, because Wilhelm's bedroom is practically a shrine to superheroes. Comic books stacked everywhere, hand-drawn sketches of powers and costumes, notebooks filled with theories. To Wilhelm, this is not a problem. This is the greatest thing that has ever happened. He runs a series of experiments on Pelle to map out exactly what he can do. The results are clear. The boy has real abilities. Super strength, super speed, and hands that stick to surfaces like an insect's feet. Wilhelm gets to work immediately. He builds Pelle a red and black costume and gives him a name. Antboy. To test whether Pelle can handle a real situation, Wilhelm drops him alone in a parking lot known for petty crime and waits nearby. It does not take long. A woman's scream cuts through the air. A man has just snatched her bag and is running. Pelle gives chase, catches up, and tells the thief to hand it back. The man takes one look at this kid in a homemade costume and bursts out laughing. He tells Pelle to go home. Then he notices Pelle is climbing a brick wall. No rope, no ladder. Just hands and feet pressed flat against the surface, moving upward like a spider. The thief stops laughing. He turns to run, and Pelle drops down on top of him. When the police arrive minutes later, the thief is already waiting for them on the ground. Wilhelm shows up just after and asks how it went. Pelle tries to demonstrate the wall trick again, and slips straight off, landing flat on his back. He is completely drained. Wilhelm tosses him a chocolate bar. Pelle eats it, and within seconds, the strength flows back through him. That is the key. His powers burn fuel fast. He needs sugar to keep them running. Wilhelm upgrades the suit with a full helmet, hiding Pelle's identity completely. And just like that, Antboy starts showing up across town. He stops a shop robbery, helps an elderly man carry groceries home, rescues a cat stuck in a tree. The stories spread quickly. Kids at school talk about him at lunch. Local news picks up the story. Antboy becomes something the neighborhood did not know it needed. A hero. But while Antboy is becoming famous, something terrifying is unfolding behind closed doors. One evening, Amanda is home with her younger sister Ida when a stranger forces his way inside. Before Ida can reach her, the man grabs Amanda and drags her out of the house. Ida is left frozen in the hallway, completely helpless. Next morning, Pelle notices Amanda's seat is empty. There is no explanation, no announcement. Just an absence that settles in his chest like a stone. He cannot ignore the feeling that something is very wrong. Then, during lunch, chaos erupts. Students are pointing and screaming up at the rooftop. A figure appears to be hanging off the edge. Pell slips away, pulls on the suit, and scales the outside of the building. When he reaches the top, he finds no real emergency, just a dummy propped against the edge. Standing beside it is Ida. She set the whole thing up on purpose to find him. She pulls out her phone and presses play on a video. Amanda is on screen, pale and frightened, trapped inside a glass box. A voice speaks over the footage, cold and deliberate. It demands $20 million and the complete shutdown of Exofarm. If those conditions are not met, Amanda will not survive. The man behind the voice calls himself the Flea. Ant-Boy makes Ida a promise right there on that rooftop. He is going to find her sister and bring her home. He takes Ida to Wilhelm's place. Wilhelm is not exactly thrilled. Protecting a secret identity is the most important rule. And now a stranger knows where they operate. But Pele assures him Ida has no idea who is under the mask. They push past the tension and focus on the problem. Who is the Flea? Where is he holding Amanda? Ida thinks it might be someone connected to her father's company. While they talk, Ant-Boy catches a scent, faint but unmistakable, coming from a necklace Ida brought along. Amanda's necklace. Using his sharpened ant-like senses, he follows the trail through streets and alleys until it leads somewhere that makes his stomach drop, the old abandoned house. The exact place where the ant bit him. He tells Wilhelm and Ida to stay outside and goes in alone. The inside of the house is nothing like it looks from the street. Lab equipment fills every room, glass containers holding live insects, chemical shelves, microscopes, notebooks dense with scientific writing. Someone has been conducting serious research here for years. Pell moves carefully through the dark interior until he finds her. Amanda is locked inside a sealed glass chamber in a back room, barely able to stand, her face drained of color. He moves toward the glass, and then something hits him from behind with enormous force. He did not hear a single footstep. It is the Flea. He overpowers Pell without much effort and locks him inside a second glass box right next to Amanda. Then, with nowhere left to run, the Flea finally talks. He used to be a scientist at Exofarm. Brilliant, dedicated, and responsible for the vaccines that earned the company millions. He had been working on something extraordinary, an experimental treatment built around genetically modified ants, designed to fight rare and deadly diseases that nothing else could touch. His own mother was seriously ill. No conventional treatment was helping. So he gave her the serum himself, and it worked. Her health began returning. There was real hope for the first time in a long time. Then Amanda's father looked at the numbers and made a decision. The project was cut. Too expensive, not profitable enough. Just a business call. But for the Flea, it was a death sentence for his mother. Without the treatment, she deteriorated again. She died. He tried to keep producing the serum privately, working in secret after hours. When the company found out, he was fired on the spot. All that grief, all that rage, all that loss, it curdled into something obsessive and dark. He wants to make Amanda's father feel exactly what he felt. He wants him to watch someone he loves disappear and be able to do nothing about it. He also tells Pele something that stops him cold. During his experiments, one of his modified ants escaped from the lab. That is the ant that found Pele. That is where his powers came from. But the Flea went further. He perfected the formula and injected it into himself. His strength, speed, and reflexes now surpass anything Ant-Boy has managed. He did not just create a hero, he created something stronger, and then he twists the knife. He tells Pell that Amanda has no interest in him, the quiet, invisible kid who sits in the back of the class. She only admires Ant-Boy, the mask, the costume, the hero. Without any of that, Pelle is nothing to her. And Wilhelm? The only reason he spends time with Pelle is the powers. Take those away and Pelle would still be eating lunch alone. Outside, Wilhelm and Ida have already called the police. The moment the Flea hears the sirens, he slips out before they can reach him. Officers break Pelle and Amanda free from the glass chambers. Ant-Boy is physically unhurt but completely shaken inside. He makes a decision right then. He is done. He does not want to be Ant-Boy anymore. He wants to be liked for who he actually is, not for what he can do while wearing a mask. He does not want a friendship that only exists because of superpowers. He wants to be normal. Wilhelm fights back hard when Pelle tells him. He argues that Pelle has something rare, something that could genuinely help people. A real gift that most people never get. But Pelle does not budge. The next day, the Flea is not finished. He shows up at the school in broad daylight. Students scatter. Teachers scramble to get everyone safe. The building descends into panic. Wilhelm finds Pelle in the hallway and shoves the mask into his hands, eyes wide and urgent. Pelle hands it straight back and keeps walking. So Wilhelm does something that requires a specific kind of courage that has nothing to do with superpowers. He puts on the suit himself. No abilities, no training, just a kid in a costume who refuses to let everyone around him get hurt. He stands in front of the Flea near the school entrance and tries to hold the line long enough for students to escape. It does not take the Flea long to figure out this is not the real Ant-Boy. One clean move and Wilhelm is overwhelmed. He is dragged unconscious into the forest outside the school grounds. When Pell hears that Wilhelm, his best friend, the person who believed in him before any of this started, has been taken because of him, something breaks open inside. He does not think about Amanda. He does not think about his reputation or what he wants. He pulls on the suit, grabs his bike, and rides hard toward the forest. He finds Wilhelm tied to a tree, bruised but breathing. He cuts him free, but the flea steps out of the shadows. He has been waiting for this. Pelle and Wilhelm fall back into the trees, thinking fast because they both know a direct fight is unwinnable. The flea is simply too powerful. While the flea's attention stays locked on Pelle, Wilhelm moves quietly around behind him and goes for the device strapped to his back, a mechanism that boosts and stabilizes his enhanced abilities. Wilhelm knocks it loose. Instantly, the flea weakens. His movements slow. The edge disappears. Pelle charges. What follows is brutal and exhausting. But this time, Pelle is not fighting to impress anyone. He is not thinking about Amanda or about becoming famous. He is fighting for the one person who stood by him before he was anything at all. He wins. The flea goes down. It is over. Later, Aunt Boy visits Amanda at home. She still has no idea that the boy behind the mask is the same quiet kid from her class. She thanks him through tears, full of admiration, and slowly leans in to kiss him. He steps back. He does not let it happen. Instead, he asks to speak with Ida. When Ida comes in, he makes one request. Keep his secret. Never tell anyone that Pelle and Aunt Boy are the same person. Ida smiles and nods. She will take it to her grave. With this, the movie comes to an end on a scene that feels like the beginning of something. Pelle and Wilhelm are sitting together, sketching ideas, laughing, talking about upgrades to the suit. The friendship is stronger than it has ever been. And somewhere along the way, Pelle stopped fighting what he is. Being Ant Boy is not a costume he puts on. It is part of him, and he is finally okay with that. If you enjoyed this one, drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on the story. And if you are new here, subscribe so you never miss our next breakdown.